Su Jingxing's essence soul was surprised when it heard the shout. Green Cloud Mountain was now almost Su Jingxing's base. Not every inch of the entire mountain range had been checked, but he had patrolled most of the areas. Some places were indeed more dangerous, but that was for ordinary people and low-level martial artists. Any martial artist in the top ranks could go to every place on Green Cloud Mountain. Most importantly, things like the convergence of the nation's fate and the power of the stars often targeted a large area. It would rarely be one rock or one tree. In other words, the strangeness referred to the entire mountain range. Even if it didn't include everything, it still included most of the areas. The problem was that Su Jingxing had almost covered the entire mountain range, but he didn't find anything significant. Not even under the vision of the Thunder Dragon bone armor. Su Jingxing had given up on searching. Nian Linger's shout piqued his curiosity again. Clearly, the mysteries of Green Cloud Mountain were deeply hidden. In the void world, his main body continued to monitor Nian Shuang and Nian Linger. Su Jingxing's essence soul returned to the capital and landed on a rockwork not far from the Qingtian Palace. Should I help Nian Shuang and Nian Linger? Since he couldn't deduce himself, he would deduce the planetary alignment and teleportation coming in half a month's time. The 6 comets records was activated. Su Jingxing divined and found that there was no danger. However, he could not deduce them in detail. Once the 7 planets were aligned, the heavenly secrets would become chaotic. Now, he could still use the heavenly secret arts. In another 10 days, all of them would become useless. Everything was a sea of murkiness once he attempted a divination. How was he supposed to carry on? Since there was no danger in helping them, he could give it a try. With the power of the stars on his body, his cultivation duration would be greatly reduced. This opportunity was rare. Of course, before that, Nian Shuang and Nian Linger still had to obtain the 3rd heavenly star disk. Whether or not the 3rd heavenly star disk was in the secret underground chamber of the Qingtian Palace was to be confirmed. If so, how would they enter the Qingtian Palace and retrieve it? If not, where could they find the 3rd heavenly star disk? Su Jingxing's essence soul waited quietly. As it was in thought, the phone in its pocket suddenly rang. It quickly took it out and answered the call. At the same time, the essence soul left the Imperial Palace and went to the top of a building in the distance. Brother Kong. The caller was Yu Xiangtian. They had exchanged contact details at the end of the video call. Brother Kong, I've investigated Nian Shuang, Nian Linger in detail again. I realize that they aren't devils, but half human, half devil. On the other end of the call, Yu Xiangtian said excitedly, their branch of the family didn't come from the ancient times. Instead, it was accidentally teleported to Earth Star from another planet more than 1,000 years ago. According to the records of the sect, only one person came to Earth Star at that time. That person was Nian Shuang and Nian Linger's grandfather. Nian Shuang's grandfather is a true member of the devil race, one of the Heart Moon Foxes. When he teleported across galaxies and landed on Earth Star, the spatial fluctuations produced were extremely intense. After Nian Shuang's grandfather landed on the icy plains, the ancestors of the sect went over to check on the situation immediately. In the end, they discovered an injured man. This man was Nian Shuang's grandfather. Although he was injured, his appearance and temperament were extremely outstanding. He was extraordinarily handsome. One of the ancestors happened to be a female and took a fancy to him at a glance. Cough cough. Yu Xiangtian coughed dryly, feeling awkward. Su Jingxing's essence soul was also speechless. Then, did they fall in love? And had a child? Not long after the child was born, Nian Shuang's grandfather passed away and revealed his true form. Yu Xiangtian remained silent. After a while, he laughed dryly and said, more or less that. In any case, the ancestor was expelled from the sect and opened up a residence on the icy plains alone. After that, nearly 500 years passed. It was an accident that brought us together again. They came from the same sect, and the Heart-Moon Fox race is a gentle race. Nian Shuang and the rest were all half-human and half-devil, so this friendship lasted all the way until 100 years ago when the sect encountered a disaster. If Brother Kong hadn't mentioned the names of Nian Shuang and Nian Linger, which helped me remember them, I wouldn't have known that our sect had such a past. Yu Xiangtian sighed. As for his sect, he did not mention what disaster they encountered 100 years ago. Su Jingxing's essence soul didn't ask either. Yu Xiangtian didn't want to talk about such matters. If it asked, it would make things awkward for both parties. I see. Su Jingxing's essence soul thanked him. Thank you, Brother Yu. I know what to do now. Alright, replied Yu Xiangtian. If possible, I hope you can let them off. Of course, if Nian Shuang and Nian Linger have made a huge mistake and disregarded human lives, you don't have to worry about me. Alright, Su Jingxing's essence soul said before hanging up. If Nian Shuang and Nian Linger really wanted to kill the innocent, Su Jingxing naturally wouldn't make a deal with them, let alone help them. Now, it would depend on whether Nian Shuang and Nian Linger could obtain the third heavenly star disk. If they obtained the third heavenly star disk, Su Jingxing would lend a helping hand in the teleportation half a month later. Could Nian Shuang and Nian Linger succeed? Su Jingxing's essence soul put away its phone and returned to the imperial palace. It looked at the Qingtian palace from afar and waited for Nian Shuang and Nian Linger to come. There was no movement the next, and nor were there signs of the two of them on the third. On the fourth night, Nian Shuang and Nian Linger appeared. The two of them arrived in the air above the Qingtian palace. Nian Shuang was holding a strange weapon that looked like an awl in her hand. Nian Linger was wearing silver armor with a smooth surface. Nian Shuang's body glowed as the strange weapon in her hand was activated. She aimed at the barrier of the Qingtian palace and quickly pierced it. Swish! A hole was instantly formed on the barrier. Whoosh! Nian Linger, who was in armor, seized the opportunity and passed through the hole, heading straight for the underground. During this process, the strange weapon in Nian Shuang's hand kept glowing and floated in the center of the hole, preventing the self-repair of the barrier. Soon, Nian Linger returned, came out from underground, and soared to pass through the hole. The strange weapon was put away, and the hole in the barrier closed up. Sister, it's the third heavenly star disk. Nian Linger waved a disk in her hand and shouted in surprise. Alright. Nian Shuang's calm face was also filled with excitement. She said in high spirits, now that we have the 3 heavenly star disks, we can go to Green Cloud Mountain. Alright. Nian Linger was overjoyed. We just don't know if Kong Xian will be willing to help. He'll agree. Nian Shuang regained her aloofness. It's extremely difficult to improve as a spiritual martial artist. Drawing on the power of the stars to strengthen his physical body is a chance that comes every few decades. As long as he wants to become stronger, he won't give it up. I hope so, Nian Linger murmured with a pout. It doesn't matter even if he doesn't come. Nian Shuang gritted her teeth. I'll do the job then. No. Nian Linger shook her head and said in a panic, Sister, you don't have a heaven devil body yet. You won't be able to withstand the impact of the power of the stars at all. No, I don't agree. It's fine. Master, Uncle Master, and the others are all gone. Only the 2 of us are left now. If we stay here, we will die sooner or later. If I can send you back, it will be worth it even if I have to die, Nian Shuang said calmly. No, I don't agree. Hoo-hoo, Nian Linger's tears fell uncontrollably. No crying. Nian Shuang shouted coldly. Nian Linger didn't care. She grabbed her sister's hand and kept begging. Whoosh! 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 A strange sound was heard. It was the expert from the sacred martial hall who was guarding the palace. When he heard the commotion, he flew through the air. Nian Shuang sensed it and flew away with Nian Linger. With a flash, they disappeared into the horizon. Are these two half-devils acting or revealing their true feelings? Su Jingxing's essence soul looked at the night sky and murmured. After pondering for a moment, it smiled and said, I almost fell for it. Whether it's an act or not, we'll know when the time comes. According to Nian Shuang, there were only two of them left. If they wanted to return to the planet where the Heart Moon sect was, they would definitely leave together. If their master and uncle master were still alive, they would definitely appear. Before that, any amount of thinking was useless. With this in mind, Su Jingxing's essence soul returned to the void world and changed out of the Thunder Dragon bone armor. The main body put it on and headed for Green Cloud Mountain. This was just in case. The Thunder Dragon bone armor, the physique of a spiritual martial artist in the third class, a 5 transformations golden body, and the demonic elephant physique that could change at any time. 4 layers of protection would be enough to deal with most situations. Over the past few days, Su Jingxing had been waiting. However, Guan Zhonghua, Luo Shan, Xiao Renwo, and the others had been busy. During the process of taking in the new Chu nation, Su Jingxing's main body had left the void world, released a glow, made an appearance and killed a general of the prefecture army who wanted to cause chaos. Then, all the factions obediently accepted the arrangements. The imperial Xiang family was very cooperative. They submitted on the first day and cooperated with the cabinet. After 10 days, most of the new Chu nation's regions were successfully taken under the Yu nation's flag. The common people were cheering, celebrating the fusion of the two countries. With high morale, the kingdom defending Jade Seal condensed sage origin fruits again. After a few consecutive attempts, the total number of sage origin fruits had successfully reached 100. If it weren't for the fact that unless there were thousands of them, the sage origin fruits wouldn't be of much use in his breakthrough through the bottleneck from the 9th class of the Void Soul Realm to Soul Fixation, Su Jingxing's Essence Soul Cultivation could take this opportunity to get a big boost. Therefore, Su Jingxing stored all 100 sage origin fruits as backup. Soon, it was the night before the planetary alignment. Su Jingxing's main body arrived at Green Cloud Mountain and tried to circulate the 6 comets records. As expected, he discovered that the heavenly secrets had fallen into chaos and everything was unknown. This was expected. Su Jingxing didn't become irritable. He was not an astronomy enthusiast. Before this, he had never paid attention to astronomical phenomena like planetary alignments. This time, thanks to Nian Shuang and Nian Linger, he learned a little more. The Thunder Dragon bone armor looked up at the starry sky and continued to pull its vision further. As expected, above the sky, a few planets had gathered together and were about to form a straight line. The space where Earth's star was located was not called the solar system, and the names of the planets were not Venus, Jupiter, Neptune, Mars, or Saturn. Su Jingxing took a few glances through the vision of the Thunder Dragon bone armor and retracted his gaze, sensing the abnormalities of Green Cloud Mountain. Indeed, unlike before, worldly energy kept sweeping over from all directions. This was one. The appearance of a strange aura was what was surprising. Especially after darkness descended, the night retreated in the blink of an eye, and the next day arrived. This aura became stronger and stronger. Most of Green Cloud Mountain was within its range. In the evening, at sunset, the 7 planets completely formed a straight line. This strange aura reached its peak. Dong! A silent sound came from the sky above Green Cloud Mountain. Ordinary people could not hear this sound, only martial artists in the top ranks who had condensed martial art true intent could. On Green Cloud Mountain, He San Xiao, Sha Lu, Nian Shuang and Nian Linger could naturally hear it. Swish! The sound echoed. On a mountain peak northwest of the Green Cloud Mountain range, a pillar of light soared into the sky. Buzz! The worldly energy instantly boiled and surged non-stop. Su Jingxing, dressed in the Thunder Dragon bone armor, flew to the northwest. When he saw Nian Shuang and Nian Linger standing on the peak of the mountain, surrounding an oval-shaped black disk that was floating in the air, he was excited. The black disk slowly spun and slowly emitted light. In the center, a ray of white light shot into the sky. There was no one around except Nian Shuang and Nian Linger. The planetary alignment of the 7 planets had already begun, but there were only Nian Shuang and Nian Linger on the peak. Clearly, the information that Nian Shuang and Nian Linger had shared at Qingtian Palace was true. There were only 2 people left in their lineage. Swish! With a flash of light, a figure appeared in the air and stopped on the right side of Nian Shuang and Nian Linger. This is, guiding the power of the world, no, guiding the power of the stars down. He Sanxiao's eyes were wide in shock. Sister, there's someone. Nian Linger was the first to be alerted. When she saw He Sanxiao, she shouted nervously. Don't worry. Su Jingxing stepped forward and revealed himself. This is He Sanxiao, a friend of mine. Brother He, they are Nian Shuang and Nian Linger. They're making use of Green Cloud Mountain to get on their way home. Please stand aside later. If possible, keep guard for us. Su Jingxing looked at He Sanxiao and said. No problem. Although He Sanxiao found it strange, he readily agreed. Sha Lu, who had long received instructions, quietly climbed up a nearby mountain peak and hid there. Su Jingxing's essence soul was also waiting in the corresponding void world space of Green Cloud Mountain. Asking He Sanxiao to keep guard was just an excuse. The leader of the Winged Ones, Sha Lu, and Su Jingxing's essence soul were the true caretakers. Thank you. After the shielding was ready, Su Jingxing smiled at He Sanxiao and thanked him. Then, he landed on the mountaintop where Nian Shuang and Nian Linger were. He looked at Nian Shuang and Nian Linger and quickly said, there's a limited amount of time for the planetary alignment. Hurry up and tell me what to do. Ha! Brother Kong Xian, you've agreed to help. Nian Linger snapped back to her senses and said excitedly, thank you, thank you. Brother Kong Xian, you're the best. Look here, 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 and here. After standing on top, just pieced the 3 heavenly star discs together in this order. As Nian Linger spoke, she pointed at the spinning black disc and the 3 heavenly star discs, gesturing with her hands. Swoosh! Without another word, Su Jingxing stepped on the black disc and stood in the center. Buzz! An invisible force suddenly descended from above and struck his body. However, Su Jingxing quickly adapted and said excitedly. We can begin. All right. Nian Linger responded and tossed the first heavenly star disc upwards for it to float in front of Su Jingxing. At the same time, Nian Shuang lowered her body and moved under the black disc. She quickly placed a silver-white ball the size of a table tennis ball at the bottom of the black disc. Buzz! The air trembled. The entire space at the top of the mountain began boiling. Swish! 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 Driven by an invisible force, the black disc suddenly spun faster. Streaks of light shot out even more dazzlingly with the spinning motion. As the black disc spun at high speed, a ray of white light that was visible to the naked eye descended from the sky and connected with the pillar of light that was projected into the sky from the center of the black disc. The latter was instantly drowned. After the integration, the white light continued to fall towards the ground, heading straight for Green Cloud Mountain. Buzz! It was as if the world was spinning and the void was trembling. White light descended from the sky and covered the entire mountain. With Su Jingxing's black disc as the center, it condensed into a pillar of light. Inside the pillar of light, Su Jingxing was bathed. An invisible but majestic force moved upwards and enveloped Su Jingxing's shoulders and heart from above, causing his body to sway. This shocking force penetrated the Thunder Dragon bone armor without any wear and acted on his body. Ugh! Su Jingxing's veins were bulging, and his face was flushed. He clenched his fists, and his eyes shone with a golden red glow. It had begun. The boundless power of the stars stimulated his physical body and began a new round of transformation. Ordinary physical bodies would explode in a few seconds at most. A transcendent body depended on the situation. Only a spiritual martial body could withstand it. Boom! 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 Only a vibration that Su Jingxing could hear echoed in his heart. At the top of the mountain, a beam of light enveloped everything. After the first wave of stimulation, Su Jingxing adapted to the process. Since the Thunder Dragon bone armor had been penetrated, Su Jingxing controlled it with his mind and removed it. It split into pieces and left his body, flying away from the mountain. Then, he picked up the first heavenly star disk and placed it in the correct position according to Nian Linger's instructions. All right. Nian Linger cheered and tossed the second heavenly star disk up. She shouted, "Brother Kong Xian, go, go." Su Jingxing didn't take it immediately because his body had begun to change visibly. His physical body turned illusory, and the golden red glow became increasingly blinding. However, no one saw this scene as he was bathed in the pillar of light. When the process was complete and his physical body returned, his realm successfully increased by 1 class. 4th class of the Essence Opening Realm. Buzz! Buzz! The boundless power of the stars continued to work. Su Jingxing endured the huge impact and underwent another physical transformation. At this moment, he picked up the second heavenly star disk and placed it on the second slot, connecting it to the first. Dong! A deafening roar resounded through the air as the 2 heavenly star disks were successfully placed. It spread silently throughout the entire Green Cloud Mountain range. When He Sanshao heard this, his mind buzzed and his eyes widened. Nian Shuang and Nian Linger's minds were also ringing, but they were more excited. Brother Kong Xian, the 3rd heavenly star disk. Nian Linger shouted excitedly and tossed the last heavenly star disk upwards. Su Jingxing took it and placed the heavenly star disk in its position, connecting it to the first 2 pieces. Buzz buzz buzz. The moment the 3 heavenly star disks connected, they abruptly trembled and released circles of ripples. When Nian Shuang, who had been waiting for a long time, saw this scene, she bent down again and pressed on the silver-white ball she placed under the black disk earlier. She quickly spun it clockwise once and counterclockwise twice. Swish! 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 After 3 laps, the black disk suddenly stopped spinning and slowly came to a stop. However, the ripples caused by the trembling of the heavenly star disks continued to intensify. About 5 meters above Su Jingxing's head, they converged and formed a faintly discernible door. At the same time, Su Jingxing completed his second physical transformation and stepped into the 5th class of the Essence Opening Realm. The passageway has opened. Nian Linger's surprised cry sounded at the right time. Let's go! Nian Shuang shouted softly. She grabbed Nian Linger and quickly flew towards the door that was parallel to the ground in midair. Su Jingxing retreated from the pillar of light and jumped off the black disk. Stop! An angry shout exploded in the air almost right after. Boom! A large area of the void near the mountain cracked for no reason, and astral winds raged. A magnificent but somewhat dilapidated city revealed most of its body in the crack. 2 figures, one tall and one short, accompanied by terrifying astral winds rushed out of the crack and pounced towards Su Jingxing. Bang! Bang! The 2 of them attacked at the same time, their palms glowing with white light as they struck Su Jingxing's body. Su Jingxing, who had yet to completely leave the black disk, lost his balance and was immediately imprisoned by the disk again, returning back into the pillar of light. Coincidentally, at this moment, the planetary alignment ended, and the dazzling pillar of light that connected heaven and earth disappeared. The light projected by the black disk itself was affected by the door in midair, producing a powerful repulsive force that pushed Su Jingxing to fly into the air. Swoosh! 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 At an extreme speed, it swallowed 3 figures before the door formed by the ring of light dissipated. Nian Shuang, Nian Linger, Su Jingxing. For a time, the scene seemed to have frozen. The door disappeared, and the black disk and the 3 heavenly star disks fell to the ground. But all 3 people on the mountaintop were gone. That's right. Nian Shuang and Nian Linger weren't the only ones who had entered the teleportation passageway. Su Jingxing had also entered. However, Nian Shuang and Nian Linger had passed through the door themselves, while Su Jingxing had been attacked and forced in. He Sanshao, who had witnessed the entire process, gaped for a long time. The 2 old men who attacked, one tall and one short, were also stunned. They stood in the air, frozen, both flustered and shocked. The crack behind them closed and disappeared. The magnificent and dilapidated city returned to the void. Swoosh! In the silence, a ray of white light suddenly descended from the sky and headed straight for Green Cloud Mountain. As the light refracted, boom! A stream of saber energy that carried torrential killing intent charged towards the 2 old men like a meteor. Su Jingxing's essence soul held the divine weapon, the wandering dragon saber. It circulated its soul power crazily and attacked the 2 of them with all its might. These 2 be asterisk stars. These 2 be asterisk stars. Boom! Su Jingxing's essence soul snarled. A terrifying saber energy that was hundreds of meters long struck the mountain, causing it to explode on the spot. It turned into countless pieces of rock, and dust flew everywhere. The black disk and the 3 heavenly star disks were also thrown into the air. Before they landed, Su Jingxing's essence soul absorbed them from a distance and put them into his palm space. Crack! Crack! The disintegrated thunder dragon bone armor also flew back and wrapped around Su Jingxing's essence soul to be reassembled. Swoosh! 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 The 2 old men, one tall and one short, flashed quickly to dodge the saber energies. Boom! 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 Su Jingxing's essence soul split space, shattered mountains, and chased after them with the wandering dragon saber. Stop! Stop! The 2 old men shouted angrily as they dodged in a sorry state. If you don't stop, we won't hold back. Bang! Bang! Suddenly, with 2 dull thuds, the 2 old men were struck by the saber energies. Light flashed across the surface of their bodies as they lost control of their bodies and fell to the ground, creating 2 huge pits. Whoosh! Su Jingxing's essence soul chased closely behind. It swung the wandering dragon saber again and slashed down, striking the pits. Boom! Boom! The ground shook. Thick cracks extended and the areas of the already shattered pits increased by more than 10 times to implicate 7 to 8 mountain peaks. Thousands of birds and animals fled in panic, their cries echoing through the mountains. Dust filled the sky and swept across the ground with the surging air waves. When the dust dissipated, a huge pit with a radius of hundreds of meters and a depth of nearly 100 meters was exposed under the sky. At the bottom of the pit, half of the bodies of 2 old men, one tall and one short, had sunk into the soil. It was unknown whether they were dead or alive. At the very least, in He Sanxiao's eyes, the 2 of them were severely injured. But in the eyes of Su Jingxing's essence soul, the 2 of them were putting on a pretense. Get out here! In midair, Su Jingxing's essence soul shouted in a low voice, Get out here and tell me what you King want. How did I offend you? That you had to make a move, send me away and throw me into the teleportation passageway. At the end, Su Jingxing's essence soul was almost roaring. These 2 be stars, these 2 be stars actually suddenly interfered. He was caught off guard and before he could react, his physical body was dragged into the teleportation passageway to the planet where Nian Shuang and Nian Linger's grandfather came from. Su Jingxing was resentful. It wasn't easy for him to make use of the short period of time when the 7 planets were aligned to raise his spiritual martial body to the 5th class of the essence opening realm. And, in the next second, he was forced to go to another planet. Nian Shuang and Nian Linger wanted to go home to their grandfather's hometown. But Su Jingxing didn't. F*ck, F*ck off, B** stards, donkeys. Su Jingxing was furious. Ahem. Cough cough. Coughs sounded. At the bottom of the pit, the 2 old men with half their bodies exposed struggled out of the soil. Then, they lay at the bottom of the pit and faced the sky. Kong. Kong Xian, right? There's a limit to our patience. Don't go overboard. That's right. Although we attacked without seeing clearly this time and caused an accident, we didn't know, did we? Besides, your physical body isn't dead. It has just gone to another world in the outer territory. Do you have to be so furious and take it out on us? Swoosh. Saber light bloomed, and saber energy swept through the air. Hey, we'll shut up. We'll shut up, will that do? Startled, the 2 old men hurriedly shouted as they retreated on the soil. Holding the wandering dragon saber, the essence soul's expression was ice-cold under the thunder dragon mask. Speak, why are you doing this? Swoosh. He San Shao, who had retreated far away a moment ago, turned around and looked at the 2 old men in the pit. He shouted at Su Jingxing's essence soul, Brother Kong, they should be from White Emperor City. Yes, we're from White Emperor City. The 2 old men stood up in a sorry state and shouted at Su Jingxing's essence soul. Kong Xian, you almost caused a huge disaster. Do you know that once the heaven gate opens, the coordinates of Earth Star will be exposed and discovered by other existences in the outer territory? Do you think the dangers in the outer territory are the barbarians in the boundless mountain range? Let me tell you, there are countless races and terrifying lifeforms in the outer territory. There are also countless terrifying existences like the divine race, the demon race, the devil race, the heavenly race, and so on. If these existences discover Earth Star and open the heaven gates through the coordinates to arrive on Earth Star, all of us will suffer. We will be captured, enslaved, and slaughtered. Since ancient times, the mission of White Emperor City has been to guard Earth Star and prevent the opening of the heaven gates and the reconnection of the void world. On the other hand, Kong Xian, you opened the heaven gates while the 7 planets were aligned. If it hadn't closed quickly, the coordinates of Earth Star would have been exposed. If you really attract evil existences from the outer territory and cause countless casualties, then you, Kong Xian, will be a criminal. The biggest criminal in tens of thousands of years. Swoosh. Saber light bloomed and saber energy spiraled. The 2 old men, who were cursing at Su Jingxing's essence soul, fell silent again. Only their eyes darted around. Under the thunder dragon mask, the essence soul's expression was grim, and its anger slowly faded. What the 2 old men said was most likely true. Once the teleportation was activated, the coordinates of Earth Star would indeed be exposed. After all, teleportation wasn't a random act without motive. The planet that Nian Shuang and Nian Linger wanted to go to also had its coordinates. However, Su Jingxing didn't know nor did he care much. Now that he thought about it, crossword teleportation could only be done with both sets of coordinates. On one side was Earth Star, and on the other was the planet where the Heart Moon Fox race resided. Only with 2 points could a line be formed. Once the line was connected, movement to and fro was possible. Since they could leave from Earth Star, others could naturally come to Earth Star from the other end. In that case, the threat from the outer territory did exist. It was understandable why the 2 old men attacked Su Jingxing. However, understanding was one thing. The words of the 2 old men were equally infuriating. Are all the people from White Emperor City as foul-mouthed and annoying as you both? Su Jingxing's essence soul put away the wandering dragon saber and mocked. Mm. Mm. The two old men groaned from their covered mouths. Speak. Su Jingxing's essence soul growled. Ahem. The two old men trembled and looked around. Cough, what foul mouth. We're just nobodies in White Emperor City. If our head were here, you, Kong Xian, would have long been on the ground. Would you still be so smug? That's right. White Emperor City has guarded Earth Star for so many years. Countless geniuses have been born. There are countless people who are more outstanding than you, Kong Xian. Cough. Cough. He Sanshao coughed lightly and held back his laughter. He retracted his gaze from the two old men and congratulated the essence soul. Congratulations on taking another step forward in your realm, Brother Kong. You reached soul fixation before me. Congratulations, congratulations. Soul fixation. Su Jingxing's essence soul was stunned. In the next moment, it sensed its body and realized that there were indeed new changes. Compared to yesterday, it was even more solid and had undergone a transformation from the inside out. Is this soul fixation? Earlier, it was infuriated by the two old men and acted to vent its anger. In the end, it had silently broken through the bottleneck and advanced to soul fixation. Sensing the changes in its body, the essence soul was momentarily at a loss for words. The breakthrough of the essence soul's realm was a transformation of the soul to begin with. The two old men sent Su Jingxing's physical body away from Earth Star, but also allowed the essence soul to advance to the soul fixation realm. Should he curse them or thank them? There's no need to be envious, brother he. I'm sure it'll come soon for you. Su Jingxing's essence soul replied to He Sanshao with a smile, I had dog shit luck. I only broke through the bottleneck because I was angered by the two of them. The two old men were speechless. He Sanshao was speechless. What the F***ck is this? Kong Xian, don't go overboard. What do you mean by dog sh**t? Is this how you should be cursing others? Let me tell you, there's a limit to our patience. The two old men were indignant and continued to curse at Su Jingxing's essence soul. He Sanshao laughed dryly. So angry that he broke through his bottleneck? Does this breakthrough method have to be so infuriating? He also wished to be angered. There was a moment of silence. What are the coordinates of Earth Star? Su Jingxing's essence soul suddenly asked, staring at the two old men. We don't know, the two old men answered bluntly. You don't know? Su Jingxing's essence soul raised its eyebrows. Haven't you guys been guarding Earth Star for more than 10,000 years? How could you not know? We really don't know. Or rather, the coordinates of Earth Star have been deliberately concealed since ancient times. The goal was to prevent it from being exposed and attracting powerful enemies from the outer territory. The two old men answered one after another. Hearing this, Su Jingxing's essence soul pondered for a moment and asked, then how did my previous cross-world teleportation, the heaven gates you mentioned, open? Don't we need to know the coordinates of both ends? I know the reason for this. The planet location device. There was a planet location device installed on the platform you stood on earlier. The planet location device has a locating function. As long as one is on Earth Star, one only needs to know the coordinates of a certain world in the outer territory to open the heaven gates. On the other hand, from the outer territory, even with the planet location device, one won't be able to locate Earth Star. The two old men explained together. I saw Nian Shuang put a small silvery white ball at the bottom of the star platform, He Sanshao added with a smile. Got it. The planet location device determined the location of the person. Nian Shuang and Nian Linger had such a device in their possession, but they hadn't told Su Jingxing about it. If I get a planet location device and open the heaven gates while my physical body is in the outer territory, won't I be able to connect the two places? Su Jingxing's essence soul asked again. Well, it's feasible in theory. But you have to be clear that there are too many unpredictable factors. There are so many planets in the universe. Every planet has its own coordinates, and these coordinates are constantly interfering with your location. But the planet location device is set to teleport people outside. It's not that it's impossible to lock onto your location here from the outer territory, but it's very, very difficult. The probability of success is too low. Unless what? Su Jingxing's essence soul stared at the two old men through the thunder dragon mask. Unless you reach the life void realm. The tall old man said seriously, primordial spirit, soul platform, cloud ascension, life void. As long as you reach the life void realm, there is a 90% probability of success in confirming the location and return through use of the planet location device. Because in the life void realm, the connection between the primordial spirit and the physical body is very close. Even with half the universe in between, they can sense each other. In addition, the planet location device is very rare. At the very least, it's almost impossible to find on Earth star. There were many of them in ancient times, but they've long gone extinct now. Not even in White Emperor City. Kong Xian, you should try to establish a connection with your physical body and see if you can sense each other. If you can, then the planet where your physical body is located should not be too far away from Earth star. Su Jingxing's essence soul remained silent. It was true that it and the physical body could not sense each other's location. Only the heavens knew how far away the planet where Nian Shuang and Nian Linger's grandfather came from was. Alright, that's it then. Putting away his thoughts, Su Jingxing's essence soul no longer looked at the two old men. It nodded at He Sanshao and soared into the air, returning to the void world. Leaving after getting your questions answered. How inhumane. The two old men muttered to themselves. Then, they rubbed their shoulders and left Green Cloud Mountain with gritted teeth. Sha Lu also returned to his race's place of residence. He Sanshao was left standing alone, his eyes flickering with a strange light. Primordial spirit, soul platform, cloud ascension, life void. As expected, there are other realms above primordial spirit. He Sanshao was an independent martial sage. He only knew the names of the minor realms from essence soul to primordial spirit. Void soul, soul fixation, soul formation. After the soul formation realm was primordial spirit. As for what followed after primordial spirit, he had no idea. Most of the martial sages on Earth Star were also unaware. This time, thanks to the two old men, he learned the names of the realms after the essence soul. It was a rare surprise for He Sanshao. The ancient White Emperor City, guardians of Earth Star, they're indeed not simple. On the other side of space. On the top of a cliff on a huge planet. The air suddenly distorted and a wormhole appeared. Swoosh! 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 As the vortex spun, three figures leaped out of the void and landed on the cliff. What a dense aura of worldly energy. Is this the planet where Grandpa and the others lived? Nian Linger looked up at the sky and cheered as she spun on the spot. Then, when she saw that Su Jingxing had also appeared on the top of the cliff, her body froze and her feet stumbled. She almost fell to the ground. You. Nian Linger staggered to her feet and gaped at Su Jingxing. Why are you here? In comparison, Nian Shuang was much calmer. She asked, this is my grandfather's world. The races that live here are basically devils. Why did a human like you come here? Su Jingxing ignored her. He leaped into the air and looked around from above the cliff. Suddenly, he looked up at the sky and froze. 4 suns. This planet is actually surrounded by 4 suns. Aren't planets supposed to revolve around stars? Here, it's the other way around. Among the 4 suns, one emitted a cold glow, one emitted a glow that contained dense vitality, one emitted a soft glow, and one emitted an incomparably heavy glow. There was no conflict, no collision. The four suns were not very far from each other. They formed an arc and hung at the top of the sky. Swoosh! After looking around, Su Jingxing retracted his gaze and returned to the top of the cliff. Do you still have a planet location device? Su Jingxing ignored Nian Shuang and asked Nian Linger. A planet location device? Nian Linger was stunned for a moment before she came to a realization. Is it the kind of silvery white ball that can locate coordinates? Yes. Su Jingxing nodded. No, we only have one, and we just used it. Nian Linger shrugged, indicating that there was nothing she could do. The one we had was left behind by Grandpa. Brother Kong Xian, if you want one, you can come with us. When we find Grandpa's clansmen, we should be able to get one. After all, without your help, my sister and I wouldn't have been able to return here. Su Jingxing fell silent and fell into deep thought. Just then. Card +1. A life form has died nearby. Su Jingxing raised his eyebrows, released his perception, and listened. Boom! Sound of running came from behind the cliff. Coupled together were strange roars of excitement. The two sounds were getting closer. There's movement. Nian Shuang's ears twitched at the right time. She called out to Nian Linger, let's go. Swish. Nian Shuang leaped towards the back of the cliff. Ah, oh, oh. Brother Kong Xian, let's go together. Nian Linger followed and invited Su Jingxing along. All right. Su Jingxing thought for a moment and decided to make a trip with them. If he wanted to return to Earth Star, he could not do without the planet location device. The essence soul was too far away from breaking through to the life void realm. He had to obtain the planet location device first. Of course, if he followed the sisters to the Heart Moon Fox race, they might not necessarily be willing to give him the planet location device. The reason why Su Jingxing was heading there was because he had nowhere to go for the time being. Therefore, making a trip to the Heart Moon Fox race wouldn't delay anything. Swish. 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 His figure flashed as he moved quickly. Nian Shuang, Nian Linger, and Su Jingxing left the cliff one after another and climbed over a mountain. Then, they each climbed a fiery red giant tree that was hundreds of meters tall and looked at the wilderness in front of the mountain. More than 10 strange people who were more than 3 meters tall surrounded a grayish-brown monster that was 10 meters long, resembled a rat, but had no tail. It had a row of sharp horns on its head, and incomparably sharp claws on its limbs. Roar! 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 The strange people held stone spears and attacked the rat-like monster from time to time. The latter charged left and right, its sharp claws stirring up claw winds, leaving claw marks on the ground. The stone spears were also very powerful. Every time they shot out from the strange people's hands, they produced sonic booms. However, the monster's skin and hair was extremely tough. Even when it was brushed by the stone spears, it was not pierced through. It only left a mark, and the body was pushed back or turned over. On the other hand, once the monster's claws struck a strange person, the person would be sent flying. His body would either shatter into pieces or be covered in cracks like rocks. That's right, these strange people had strange bodies. Half of their bodies were flesh, and the other half were rock. If the rock part was struck by the monster, they would naturally not die. However, the composition of these strange bodies was different. Some had stone for their upper bodies, flesh for their lower bodies, and the other way round for some. Some had stone heads, flesh for their chests, or flesh for their arms and stone everywhere else. There was no pattern to the composition of flesh and stones. As a result, there were many casualties during the encirclement and suppression of the monster. While Su Jingxing, Nian Linger, and Nian Shuang were watching, 3 more strange people died. Su Jingxing extracted 3 more cards. Standing in the foliage, Su Jingxing looked out as he took out 4 cards and held them in his hand to read the information. Soul Separation Card. The 4 cards were all Soul Separation cards. And unlocking the Soul Separation card would give a pill called the Spirit Gathering Pill. The function of the Spirit Gathering Pill was to nurture soul power and strengthen the soul. In essence, it was similar to the Heaven Essence Pill, but its effects were several grades inferior. Su Jingxing unlocked a card and quietly swallowed one to feel the effect. He did some mental calculations. The effects of 10 to 15 Spirit Gathering Pills were equivalent to that of 1 Heaven Essence Pill. Su Jingxing unlocked the remaining 3 Soul Separation cards and obtained 4 Spirit Gathering Pills. Clearly, the number of pills obtained from unlocking a Soul Separation card varied. Su Jingxing swallowed all 4 of them to nourish his essence soul. Just as he was feeling them, in the wilderness, the half-human and half-stone strange people and the rat-like monster ended their fight. 2 stone spears pierced through the monster's ears and into its head, successfully killing it. Card +1. Roar. 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 The remaining strange people surrounded the monster's corpse and cheered excitedly. As they shouted, half of them picked up their companions' corpses, chopped off their heads, and dug out their hearts. The rest of the bodies were buried on the spot. Half of them surrounded the monster's corpse and began a savage dissection. Su Jingxing looked into the distance without blinking. He saw them starting from the neck of the monster. They dismembered the corpse, skinned it, and removed the bones. With a stone knife, they cut off large pieces of white meat tissue, collected them, and placed them in beast skin bags. All the flesh tissue in the rat-like monster's body was cut off and taken away. Finally, they dug out a fist-sized gray crystal that was glowing green. Seeing this grayish-green crystal, all the strange people shouted excitedly. They jumped for a while before packing up and leaving. Rock core beast, this big rat is a rock core beast. When all the strange people disappeared into the far end and their figures could no longer be seen, Nian Linger crawled out from the dense foliage and stood in the air. She looked at the corpse of the rat-like monster that had been dismembered into pieces in the wilderness in front of the mountain and shouted happily. In the atlas left behind by Grandpa, there was lots of information about strange lifeforms. This big rat is called the rock core beast. It feeds on soil and rocks. And those strange people just now were from the rock race. Of course, they aren't real members of the rock race yet. The bodies of real rock race are entirely rock. Rock golems. Su Jingxing quietly took out the card he had extracted and held it in his palm to read the information. Petrification card. After the stone core beast died, a petrification card was extracted. As the name suggested, the petrification card could turn Su Jingxing entirely into rock once unlocked. Flesh, bones, tendons, internal organs, and brain, except for the soul, would all become petrified, like real rock. Of course, this state could only last for 5 minutes. However, within these 5 minutes, the defense would be incomparably powerful. Just like the rock core beast, when the stone spears shot at it with sonic boom, they only left white marks on its body. The reason why the rock race could kill it was because they targeted its weakness. They pierced through its ears before killing it. Therefore, this petrification card was very good. Su Jingxing accepted it in satisfaction as a backup. That's right. There are as many as a dozen similar strange lifeforms on the 7 luminaries planet. Nian Linger smacked her lips and looked at the sun in the sky. 7 luminaries planet. Su Jingxing's eyes lit up when he heard the keywords. You said that this planet is called the 7 luminaries planet? Not just 4 suns. But 7? Yeah. Nian Linger replied subconsciously, most of the information here is recorded in the materials Grandpa left behind about the 7 luminaries planet. For example, there are as many as 7 suns here, and every one of them is the same size. However, 7 suns combined are not as big as 1 moon. All the information about astronomy on Earth's star can't be applied here at all. The moon is actually bigger than the sun. Where does the moon's light come from? Found it. As his thoughts were overturned, Nian Linger suddenly shouted in surprise, that sun is the sun of life. According to the information left behind by Grandpa, the Uedang mountain we're going to is northwest of the sun of life. Let's go. Nian Shuang appeared and called for Nian Linger to fly northwest. Alright, Nian Linger replied and followed behind. Brother Kong Xian, let's go home. Just call me Kong Xian. Su Jingxing coughed lightly and quickly followed. Why? Nian Linger asked as they traveled. You clearly look older than me. Su Jingxing opened his mouth but did not expose himself. Alright, as you wish. Yu Xiangtian had seen Nian Shuang and Nian Linger 150 years ago. Only the heavens knew how old these sisters were. Devils had a longer lifespan than humans to begin with. Even though Nian Shuang and Nian Linger were only half-devils, their lifespans were not something that humans could compare to. Swish. 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 A human and two half-devils shuttled quickly through the forest and wilderness, heading northwest. The sun of life that Nian Linger mentioned was the sun that shone brightly and was filled with vitality. The reason why they did not travel through space was because Nian Shuang and Nian Linger's grandfather had left behind records that many places on the seven luminaries planet were occupied by powerful existences. These powerful existences valued their territory very much. Forcefully crossing space past them without informing them was equivalent to provoking them. It was very easy to trigger a huge battle. For this reason, it was best to fly at a low altitude while traveling on the seven luminaries planet. Nian Shuang and Nian Linger naturally followed suit. When Su Jingxing followed them through a pile of rocks. Card +1. Again. Though surprised, Su Jingxing didn't stop moving. He quickly followed Nian Shuang and Nian Linger out of the rubble. There was no movement nearby, which meant that the corpse which the card was extracted from had been around for some time. Su Jingxing wasn't interested in knowing the other party's race. In any case, he had already obtained the card. As he continued on his way, he took out the card and held it in his hand to read the information. Skill card. The function card he had just extracted was actually a skill card. It contained a martial art called the Firmament Nirvana Palm. Would the devils and other foreign races cultivate martial arts? It seemed so, but most of them relied on their innate abilities to fight against powerful physical bodies. In the eyes of the devils, as long as one was fast enough, strong enough, and agile enough, martial arts were just decorations. Therefore, Su Jingxing was more inclined to believe that the martial art, the Firmament Nirvana Palm, came from a human martial artist. Even though there was only half of the contents of the Firmament Nirvana Palm recorded in the skill card, it was enough to make one tempted. This was because internal force, true energy, true essence, soul power, pure physical strength, and spiritual essence could all be used. This was Su Jingxing's first divine art that could expend and circulate spiritual essence. Previously, he had mobilized his spiritual essence to execute the 100 Steps Raining Fist. It was incomparably powerful. However, the 100 Steps Raining Fist could not unleash the true power of spiritual essence. Yet the Firmament Nirvana Palm could. Half of the contents in the skill card could already be cultivated. Of course, since they were traveling, Su Jingxing was in no hurry to unlock it and temporarily put it away. Deep down, he wanted to give it a try. He wished the sky would turn dark immediately. After the sky turned dark, it would become even more dangerous. Several strange existences remained hidden in the day and only appeared after night fell to hunt. Therefore, after dark, they had to find a place to dig a cave and hide. It was equivalent to resting. While resting, he naturally had time to cultivate the Firmament Nirvana Palm. Nian Linger only knew that the territory occupied by the Heart Moon Foxes was located on the northwest of the Sun of Life on Uedang Mountain. but she wasn't sure how far it was. Therefore, it was unknown how many days it would take for Su Jingxing and the sisters to rush to Yuedang Mountain. After dark, they would definitely have to dig a cave. With this anticipation, the human and 2 half-devils crossed another 8 mountains and 2 large rivers. When they entered the 9th mountain peak, all the suns in the sky had completely sunk. A huge full moon that emitted a strange purple glow rose from the horizon and slowly climbed upwards. As soon as the purple moon appeared, all kinds of sharp, hoarse, or terrifying cries rose and fell in all directions. Nian Shuang and Nian Linger had been digging quickly on the mountain the moment before the sun set. After they dug a hole, Su Jingxing joined in and dug his own cave. After digging more than 10 meters underground, 2 caves, one big and one small, were successfully excavated, and the purple moon just happened to rise. They used a huge rock that was 3 meters thick to block the entrance of the cave. Then, they used the sand piled up at the side when they were digging to seal the gap tightly. Nian Linger and Nian Shuang then exhaled and returned to the big cave. They sat on the ground and closed their eyes to rest. Su Jingxing walked to the small cave and sat cross-legged on the ground. Although the 2 caves shared the same exit, they were separated by a 2-meter layer of soil. Movements on Su Jingxing's side would not affect Nian Shuang and Nian Linger. Therefore, Su Jingxing adjusted his aura and waited for a moment. He took out the card and unlocked it to absorb the contents of the firmament nirvana palm. If he still had the deduction card in his possession, Su Jingxing would have tried to deduce the entire firmament nirvana palm no matter what. Unfortunately, while the blood doppelganger had extracted a lot of cards from the crematorium on the outskirts of the Yu nation's capital, there wasn't a single deduction card. With such a divine art like the firmament nirvana palm, half of the contents it shall be. Su Jingxing could not wait any longer. He had no deduction card, but there were still a lot of martial arts practice cards. After digesting the information of the firmament nirvana palm, Su Jingxing took out martial arts practice cards and unlocked them to cultivate his martial art. Swish. 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 Buzz buzz buzz. The martial arts practice cards were unlocked one by one, and the martial arts practice spaces shattered one by one. When Su Jingxing finally cultivated the firmament nirvana palm to the advanced level, all the martial arts practice cards he had stored were exhausted. Here, the martial arts practice cards obtained from killing the barbarians were used up. The total practice time contained in these martial arts practice cards was 183 years. After such a long time, he had only cultivated the firmament annihilation palm to the advanced level. F***ck, this martial art is too difficult to cultivate. The difficult part was that it involved the spatial attribute. With a single palm strike, space could also shatter and the void would appear. Therefore, Su Jingxing's heart didn't ache despite it taking so long. If it weren't for the fact that he was in the cave with Nian Shuang and Nian Linger beside him, Su Jingxing would have liked to execute the firmament nirvana palm to test the might of this divine art. Sister, listen. Just as he thought of Nian Linger and Nian Shuang, Nian Linger suddenly asked in a low voice in the darkness, "Is someone calling out?" Someone is calling out. Su Jingxing collected his thoughts, calmed his mind, released his perception, and listened. As expected, he heard a deep and slightly ear-piercing voice approaching from afar. "Ignore it," said Nian Shuang coldly. "But this sound seems to be coming from someone from our race." Nian Linger added, "From the sound of it, she seems to be injured. She's running for her life. That has nothing to do with us." Nian Shuang was still aloof. Although it was a little cold-blooded, Nian Shuang's response in the dangerous wilderness was the right choice. Nian Linger's kindness, on the contrary, might ruin things. In this aspect, Su Jingxing supported Nian Shuang. He continued to listen as the cries got closer and closer to the cave. As it got closer, other voices joined in. What followed was a strange accent that Su Jingxing couldn't understand. Nian Linger got the gist of it. She suddenly stood up and said anxiously, "No, I have to go out and save her." As she spoke, strands of silver rings appeared on her body. They wrapped around her body and she crashed towards the soil. Under the silver rings, she burrowed into the soil like a fish and dived towards the surface. "Stop right there." Nian Shuang saw this and was so angry that her eyebrows furrowed. She gritted her teeth and also wrapped herself in silver halos as she burrowed into the soil. Innate ability? Su Jingxing sensed their movements. After some thought, he also turned incorporeal and moved upwards. In the illusory state, he could pass through anything that wasn't special soil. A depth of more than 10 meters was soon covered and he quickly appeared on the surface. Standing on the slope, Su Jingxing looked in the direction of the voice. Through the demonic mist shrouded by the purple moonlight, he saw a silver-white fox more than 2 meters long fleeing in a sorry state in the forest. As the fox ran, it let out a low and ear-piercing cry. Its silvery white fur was stained with large patches of blood. Behind the fox, 2 burly, 3-meter-tall devils with wolf heads and human bodies gave chase easily with strange smiles. "Kill!" With a sudden delicate shout, a figure flew out from the forest and pounced at the 2 wolf devils. It was Nian Linger. Her eyes shone with silver light, and her hands transformed into sharp claws. As she leaped and flashed forward, she attacked the wolf devil on the left from the side. With a single claw strike, the wolf devil's body released a bloody glow. Its body flew backward and crashed to the ground. The wolf devil on the right had just sensed her and before it could react, a figure also rushed out from its side. Nian Shuang's hands also transformed into sharp claws and struck the wolf devil. Moreover, the force was even stronger. As she sent the wolf devil flying, she shattered the blood glow released and left 3 deep claw marks on its upper body. Thump! Thump! The 2 wolf devils crashed to the ground and revealed their true forms. Blood-colored fur covered their entire bodies, and their scarlet eyes were fixed on Nian Shuang and Nian Linger. Roar! Roar! The 2 wolf devils fought their own battles as they charged towards Nian Shuang and Nian Linger. As they ran, blood-colored light bloomed on their bodies and covered their bodies like armor. Nian Shuang and Nian Linger's second wave of attacks were all blocked by this blood-colored light barrier armor. However, the 2 of them were extremely fast. They immediately adjusted their strategy and circled around the 2 wolf devils with agile bodies. With the support of the silver halos, waves of energy erupted and continuously exhausted the wolf devil's blood-colored barriers. The 2 wolf devils must have expended a lot of energy before this. Soon, under Nian Shuang and Nian Linger's repeated attacks, the blood-colored barrier shattered. Search VIP novel/C0M on Google. Without the blood-colored light barrier, the defense of the 2 wolf devils plummeted. Although their blood-colored fur was also very tough, under the rapid attacks of Nian Shuang and Nian Linger, who had the power of the silver halos, they still fell to the ground. The neck of one was broken, and its head was almost separated from his body. It died with its eyes open. The other had a huge hole in its abdomen, and most of its internal organs were crushed. It was deader than dead. Card +2. The notification flashed. Su Jingxing, who was watching the battle, glanced at the corpses of the 2 wolf devils and retracted his gaze. He then looked at the silver fox that had fainted in the grass after its danger was resolved. Swish! Swish! Read more on VJP Novel, C0M. Nian Shuang and Nian Linger, whose faces were covered in sweat, leaped to the silver fox's side. They activated the silver halo again and wrapped it around the fox before returning to the underground cave. Su Jingxing sensed his surroundings and heard a few strange sounds. The aura of a carnivorous species was especially strong. Immediately, he ignored the 2 wolf devil corpses and returned to the underground cave. Sure enough, in less than 3 minutes after Su Jingxing left, a few black shadows emerged from the darkness and fought over the corpses of the 2 wolf devils. In a few moments, they had finished eating the corpses. Underground cave. Su Jingxing stood not far from the cave entrance and looked at Nian Linger, who was calling out to the unconscious silver fox in a strange accent. His heart skipped a beat and he asked, "Is this the language of your race?" "You can say that." "Oh yes." Nian Linger thought of something and patted her head. "Brother Kong Xian, you don't know the spirit communication language, do you?" "Spirit communication language?" Su Jingxing was puzzled. "It's a secret spell that's similar to a translator," Nian Linger said as she muttered. Her hands moved quickly, releasing a ray of silver light that headed straight for Su Jingxing's glabella. Su Jingxing first wrapped his soul power around it to make sure it was no threat before absorbing and digesting the information contained in the silver light. The spirit communication language. There were no levels to this secret art. As long as one mastered it, they would be able to understand all kinds of languages. It was equivalent to an automatic translation software, an app on the soul level. Su Jingxing immediately consumed his soul power to comprehend the mysteries within and quickly reached the introductory stage. After a while, he could already understand Nian Linger's strange tone as she called out to the silver fox. "Wake up, wake up. We're also members of the Heart Moon Fox race. Are you alright?" The silver fox was severely injured. It had no intention of waking up. Nian Shuang's face was ashen as she treated the silver fox. She did not say a word. "This is a Heart Moon Fox." "A Heart Moon Fox pursued by the wolf devils." Su Jingxing sized it up and remained silent. On the other hand, as Nian Linger shouted, she thought of something and said, "That's not right, sister. If I'm not mistaken, those two wolf devils are most probably from the violent blood wolf race that Grandpa mentioned. According to Grandpa's records, aren't they allies with the Heart Moon Fox race? Why were those two wolf devils chasing after our clansmen?" Nian Shuang was silent for a moment. After a while, she murmured, "The ally relationship Grandpa mentioned was more than 1,000 years ago. We won't know what the relationship between the violent blood wolf race and the Heart Moon Fox race is until we go to Yuedang Mountain. Or, after she wakes up." Nian Shuang pointed at the unconscious silver fox. "That's true." Nian Linger came to a realization and patted her own head. After such a long time, everything will indeed change. With that, she gently called out to the unconscious silver fox, wanting to understand what was going on with the violent blood wolf race. The silver fox did not react. Su Jingxing, who was listening to their conversation, pondered for a moment and took out the two cards he had extracted. Skill card. The two cards extracted from the violent blood wolf race were skill cards. A secret ability that could detonate one's blood and produce terrifying lethality. Blood explosion. Of course, this secret ability could not only be used inside the body, but also externally as a cannonball. The exact process was to squeeze out a drop of blood. Under the influence of the blood explosion skill card, when it flew out to attack the enemy, it would explode. The moment the drop of blood exploded, the skill card would be unlocked. 2 cards, 2 chances to explode blood. But why didn't those two violent blood wolves explode in the end when they were attacked by Nian Shuang and Nian Linger? Such a special technique should be the innate ability of the violent blood wolves. The two wolf demons didn't detonate their blood. Is it because their realms aren't high enough? Su Jingxing pondered. This was similar to how bloodline martial artists could not unleash the power of their bloodline if the density of their bloodline was too low. 99% of the reason why the two violent blood wolves did not explode their blood was because their realms were not there yet. Otherwise, they would be idiots, allowing Nian Shuang and Nian Linger to kill them without doing anything. With this in mind, Su Jingxing sighed inwardly at Nian Shuang and Nian Linger's good luck. What if? Leave. Leave. Don't bother about me, don't bother about me. Suddenly, the unconscious silver fox cried out and opened its eyes in fear. Of course, Its tone was very strange. Su Jingxing could understand it because of the automatic translation of the spirit communication language. It's fine, it's fine. You're fine now. Nian Linger hugged the silver fox and comforted it. You're already safe. We killed those 2 violent blood wolves. We're also from the Heart Moon Fox race. My name is Violent Blood Wolf race? Yes, the Violent Blood Wolves. The silver fox snapped back to its senses. Before it could see what Nian Shuang and Nian Linger looked like, it shouted in panic, the Violent Blood Wolves have betrayed us. Hurry back to the clan and tell the king that the Violent Blood Wolves have betrayed us. They want. Boom. A loud bang suddenly sounded. The entire mountain peak where Su Jingxing, Nian Shuang, Nian Linger, and the silver fox were hiding shook violently. And it began to collapse from top to bottom. Boom. Boom. Deafening sounds rose and fell. Countless rocks, sand, and dust were thrown into the air under the impact of the powerful force, splattering in all directions. In an instant, a terrifying wave of air swept through the 4 nearby mountains. Dust surged into the sky. Amidst the dust, a figure wrapped in golden red light shot out from the ground. Su Jingxing activated his transcendent body and mobilized all the power at the 5th class of the essence opening realm. As soon as the figure rushed out of the ground, his perception locked onto a tall and burly figure with dense blood energy. Ned Fox, you're quite bold. You actually didn't escape after killing my sons and instead hid underground. Why? Do you think I won't be able to find you? The tall figure had a hideous wolf head. His scarlet eyes swept past Su Jingxing as he shouted coldly, and you're also very bold. You actually dared to come forward and... Boom! The air exploded. Above the tall figure, a large area of space suddenly shattered. Like glass struck by a huge rock, shocking cracks appeared. A giant palm imprint that was more than 30 meters long and 20 meters wide appeared out of thin air. With a series of strange sounds, the space above the tall figure's head that was covered in cracks shattered. The giant palm imprint weighed down and struck the tall figure who could not dodge in time. Bam! A loud bang spread in all directions. A blood-colored barrier appeared around the tall figure's body to block the giant palm imprint. However, it only lasted for less than 5 seconds before it disintegrated and disappeared with a dull thud. Without any obstruction, the giant palm imprint struck the tall figure at close range. Bang! The tall figure's huge body was slammed heavily to the ground, stirring up a large amount of dust as it sank into a huge pit. Pooh! He spat out a large mouthful of blood. The blood seemed to have come alive as it shot towards Su Jingxing like arrows leaving the bow. Ah, die! The tall figure was filled with killing intent. With a furious roar, he leaped from the bottom of the pit and returned to midair. Like lightning, he followed after the blood arrows and charged at Su Jingxing. Boom! Su Jingxing continued to execute the firmament nirvana palm and struck out with his palm. This palm strike mobilized 200 years of vast ocean spiritual essence cultivation. Previously, he had only mobilized 100 years of spiritual essence cultivation. Then, coupled with the physical strength of the 5th class of the essence opening realm, he shattered the space again. This time, the space shattered even faster, though the speed at which the void automatically repaired itself was not slow either. However, the tall figure still took it in, and the momentum it was charging towards Su Jingxing with slowed slightly. In the next moment, he roared in shock and anger. The blood light on his body shone brightly and transformed into a bloody wolf claw that met the giant palm imprint that shattered space. Boom! A loud bang shook the surroundings and spread for 100 miles. Hoo hoo hoo! Strong winds and air waves covered the surrounding dozen mountains. Under the giant palm, the bloody claw lasted for 7 to 8 seconds before shattering into nothingness. Be careful. It's 3. Boom! Space shattered once more. Without stopping, Su Jingxing struck again with the firmament nirvana palm. This time, he had mobilized as much as 500 years of vast ocean spiritual essence cultivation. The giant palm imprint descended all the way. As soon as it was born, it shattered space and dropped straight above the tall figure's head, locking onto all his escape routes. Roar! Roar! The tall figure that was trembling all over and feeling extremely fearful roared. A large amount of blood spurted out from its mouth, nose, and eyes. It transformed and charged towards the giant palm imprint. However, it was drowned by the giant palm imprint halfway, producing a series of explosions. Terrifying astral winds and energy swept out, covering the sky and earth. The tall figure only had time to let out a final angry snarl before its huge body was covered by the giant palm imprint that did not slow down. With a dull explosion, it turned into countless pieces of flesh and blood that scattered in the air. Card +1. The notification flashed past. Su Jingxing adjusted his aura and slowly descended to the ground. At this moment, from the corner of his eye, he suddenly saw a glowing object in the drifting blood mist. Immediately, he reached out and grabbed it, bringing it before his eyes. He took a closer look and realized that it was a bracelet made of bones. That's not right. Su Jingxing's eyes lit up as he sensed the spatial fluctuations on the bone bracelet. He released his will and touched the bracelet. His mind suddenly entered a space about 1 cubic meter big. Spatial equipment. This bone bracelet was actually a spatial equipment. There weren't many things inside. There were only 8 palm-sized jade stones that emitted a sparkling white glow and a pair of bone claws made of an unknown material. He sensed with his mind and confirmed that there was no threat. Su Jingxing retracted his will and calmly put away the bone bracelet. He turned to look at Nian Shuang, Nian Linger, and the silver fox that had transformed into human form but retained its fox tail and claws. What did you just say? Silence. Nian Shuang, Nian Linger, and the silver fox who had turned into a human woman all gaped and stood rooted to the ground. The three of them alternated between looking at Su Jingxing and the tall figure that had turned into a bloody mist of minced flesh. After a while. It's a third realm devil general. The silver fox woman replied softly. Third realm, devil general. Su Jingxing narrowed his eyes. Apart from feeling surprised, he was also sincerely delighted by the might of the firmament nirvana palm. According to the information revealed by Nian Linger, the classification of strength for the devils was very simple. First realm, second realm, third realm. The physical strength of the first realm was equivalent to a human's transcendent grade, the body of a martial sage. The second realm corresponded to the soul platform realm, and the third to the cloud ascension realm. Of course, this was because their physical bodies were about the same. Other martial arts, divine weapons, innate abilities, and rare treasures were not counted. If all of them were added up, the first realm devils would not be a match for a transcendent grade martial sage. This was because every martial artist who advanced to the transcendent grade would cultivate extraordinary martial arts. They would have at least 100 years of true essence cultivation. How could a small devil that had just completed its transformation compare to a full unleashing of his physical body and essence soul? However, it was different for the devils in the second realm. The devils in the second realm had grasped the innate ability of their race. Their strength, speed, reaction speed, and perception had increased greatly compared to the first realm. For a devil of this realm, a martial artist in the soul platform realm could only be said to be an equal match. However, when the devils advanced to the third realm, things would be very different. Not only would the third realm devils have completely grasped their innate abilities, they would also have their own unique energy field. This was a powerful force that ordinary attacks could not break through. Martial artists in the cloud ascension realm could contend against them, but it would be very difficult to kill them. As a result, devils in the three realm were considered the middle ranks of the devil race and were called devil generals. Devil's generals already had a high status on the Seven Luminaries planet. The major devil races were also aware of each other. Attacks on one another and fights were aplenty, but it was rare to kill one. However, today, one was killed by Su Jingxing with 3 palm strikes right in front of Nian Shuang, Nian Linger, and the Silver Fox woman. Killing a third realm devil general with 3 palm strikes, what kind of strength was this? Nian Shuang and Nian Linger only knew how powerful a third realm devil general was, but they had never seen one before. After the shock passed, they looked at Su Jingxing with bright eyes. The Silver Fox woman, on the other hand, was well aware of how terrifying a third realm devil general was. She had yet to come back to her senses. Su Jingxing himself was sighing at the terror of the firmament nirvana palm. The third realm devil generals corresponded to powerful existences in the 7th, 8th, and 9th classes of the essence opening realm. In the end, one was killed by Su Jingxing, who was in the 5th class of the essence opening realm, with 3 firmament nirvana palm strikes and 500 years of spiritual essence cultivation. In this result, the 5th class of the essence opening realm only took 30% of the credit, same for 500 years of spiritual essence cultivation, and 40% for the firmament nirvana palm. It was this final 40% that allowed Su Jingxing to cross 2 minor realms and kill the third realm devil general from the violent blood wolf race. Let's go. In the silence, Nian Shuang, who had regained her composure, shouted softly and broke the silence. Let's leave this place first. A third realm devil general of the violent blood wolf race has died here. They will find this place soon. Yes, yes. The Silver Fox woman came back to her senses and looked at Nian Shuang gratefully. Let's leave this place first. By the way, my name is Nian Xiaoxiao. My name is Nian Linger. Nian Linger grinned and raised her hand. Nian Shuang, who had already begun running, said without looking back. Then this is, the Silver Fox woman, Nian Xiaoxiao, looked at Su Jingxing. He's brother Kong Xian. Nian Linger beat him to it. Big brother Kong Xian is so powerful. He's amazing. A third realm devil general was killed with 3 palm strikes. Ha, he's so cool. Nian Linger waved her hands as she ran. Ha. Nian Xiaoxiao, who was running with them, was stunned. Kong Xian. He's not from the Heart Moon Fox race. That's right. Brother Kong Xian is a human, and a spiritual martial artist among humans at that. Nian Linger said with admiration, looking proud. Nian Xiaoxiao perked up again. Human spiritual martial arts. She looked up at Su Jingxing, who was running ahead, and her eyes lit up. No wonder. No wonder he's so powerful. Nian Xiaoxiao was only in the 2nd realm. When she saw Su Jingxing strike out just now, she was sincerely afraid. Now she understood. Killing a third realm devil general with 3 palm strikes was not difficult for human spiritual martial artists. Of course, Nian Xiaoxiao didn't know what realm Su Jingxing was in, but she guessed that it wouldn't be low. Even if he wasn't in the 9th class of the essence opening realm, he was in the 8th. Unbeknownst to her, Su Jingxing was only in the 5th class of the essence opening realm. The Heart Moon Foxes had 2 surnames. This was because the first Heart Moon Fox was called Nian Feng. Therefore, all the subsequent Heart Moon Foxes had the surname Nian for the females and Feng for the males. Unlike other fox races, the Heart Moon Foxes loved to have unions with humans. The number of half-devils in the race was huge, at least half of them. The exact reason was unknown. All that was known was that once a half-devil born from the fusion of a Heart Moon Fox and a human awakened, the Heart Moon power of the bloodline would be very pure. However, if he wanted to completely unleash its power, he would need to undergo a moon baptism. Without a baptism, the more often the power of the bloodline was used, the shorter its lifespan would be. It was equivalent to using the power of his bloodline at the cost of his lifespan. This was also the reason why Nian Shuang and Nian Linger insisted on returning to the Seven Luminaries planet. On Earth Star, they would not live long unless they did not use their abilities. A Heart Moon Fox Half-Devil could live up to 500 years under normal circumstances. However, if they were to use the power of the bloodline, the 500 years would immediately be shortened. 300 years, 200 years, or even less than 100 years. Nian Shuang and Nian Linger's father only lived for a little more than 100 years before dying. After running for more than 200 miles, they moved to an empty cave. On the way to the new base, Nian Shuang and Nian Linger told Nian Xiaoxiao their background and their grandfather's name, Feng Xiang. Feng Xiang. In the cave, Nian Xiaoxiao, who had yet to recover from her injuries and was pale-faced, murmured as she pondered, "If I remember correctly, your grandfather, Feng Xiang, should be a clansman from the 6th lineage." The leader of the 6th lineage, Feng Jian, had already stepped into the 4th realm 2,000 years ago and became in charge of the 6th lineage until today. He has 3 children, and the third happens to be a son named Feng Xiang. Huh? Nian Linger's mouth fell open in surprise. "Sister Xiaoxiao, are you serious? Our great-grandfather is a 4th realm expert." Although Nian Shuang did not speak, her eyes were also filled with surprise. Beside them, Su Jingxing glanced at Nian Shuang and Nian Linger in surprise. The leader of the 6th lineage was a 4th realm existence. This backer was extremely powerful. The Heart Moon Fox race had a total of 9 lineages. Their population ranged from 10,000 for the smallest group and more than 50,000 for the biggest group. The 4th realm of the Devil race was also called the Great Devil General. It was an expert level comparable to the Life Void realm of the Divine Martial Arts system. As for the Spiritual Martial Arts system, above the Essence Opening realm was the Dharma Characteristic realm. In the Divine Martial Arts system, after a martial artist advanced to the Transcendent grade, martial art true intent was basically left alone. However, spiritual martial arts were different. The breakthrough of the Dharma characteristic realm required the profound evolution of martial art true intent. A great devil in the 4th realm was comparable to the life void realm of the divine martial arts system and the Dharma characteristic realm of the spiritual martial arts system. If Nian Shuang, Nian Linger's great-grandfather really turned out to be Feng Jian, they would have stable futures. Once they returned to the clan, they would not have to fear anyone. Cough. It should be true. Nian Xiaoxiao coughed lightly and said with a smile, "It said that Feng Xiang has also disappeared for more than 1,000 years. You guys even brought his belongings with you. When we get back, go to leader Feng Jian and confirm your identities and you'll know." "That's great." Nian Linger jumped up and cheered. "I really want to return to the clan immediately to meet great-grandpa. Don't use that address too early. What if he's not?" Nian Shuang rolled her eyes at her. Cough. Su Jingxing coughed and interrupted, "I want to ask, what's with the betrayal of the violent blood wolf race that you mentioned previously?" That's right. Grandpa said that the violent blood wolf race is our ally. Why did they attack you and even get a 3rd realm devil general to hunt you down?" Nian Linger was also curious. Nian Shuang also raised her head and looked at Nian Xiaoxiao. "I don't know." Nian Xiaoxiao sighed heavily. Huh? Nian Linger was dumbfounded. "What do you mean by you don't know?" "I just don't know." Nian Xiaoxiao gritted her teeth. "As usual, we were going to the Fjord Mountain to harvest Origin Jade. That area is jointly owned by us and the violent blood wolf race. Every 20 years, we will harvest the Origin Jade that is born and split the harvest equally. For some reason, after the Origin Jade was harvested, the violent blood wolves suddenly attacked. Shoo!